Unfortunately, time to start talking about the heat. We're pretty lucky so far, but our luck's going to run out here in the near future. Make sure with the water coolers that we're using the seal tape. Saw a bunch of coolers on this side without the tape. Tony, you have some back there?
We have some tape and we have tape.
Get some water cooler seal tape from Tony. That makes sure that nobody's opening the lids, washing their hands in your cooler, anything like that. Quite possible to keep somebody from getting ill or quite a few people getting ill. So make sure that that process is happening the way it should. Summer coming up, make sure we got enough coolers, make sure that we got coolers that are in good shape. If we need to change out nozzles, we usually have extra nozzles over here. If we need to get a new cooler, let's just let Tony, let Corey know on the other side what our needs are, and we'll get it for you guys. But it's going to be important through the summer to make sure that we stay hydrated while we're out there working, because we're going to be extremely busy. And as everyone knows, when we get into the middle of summer, it's going to be extremely hot. Also, got one employee right now that has a pretty severe staph infection. I don't think it's in any way related to work. I looked at it last week. It's down around his calf section down here. Keep an eye out for that, fellas. Summertime, it becomes a little more prevalent. We're looking at making sure we got enough hand sanitizers and stuff out there. This is something that as soon as you suspect it is an infection, we need to go to the doctor and take care of it. So if you got a little issue, and he did the right thing, he drew a little circle around the red area, real big red area. And I told him I couldn't tell him it was staph, but I could tell him it was severely infected. So watch out for that. In the summer, we're capable of trading it off because of the sweat, because we hand and tools back and forth to one another. So make sure you're washing your hands quite a few times across the day and taking care of that. We haven't really had a big problem with it over here. We did about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and we got a grip on it. So just continue watching what we're doing there. Fire extinguishers, and I wanted to bring that up. Got about 22 fire extinguishers coming back from Bayou Safety. Today or Monday, they should hit us. If you find any extinguishers on the yard that are discharged, get them over there to Tony. He'll be able to swap it out. But in talking about fire extinguishers, make sure that when you're on a piece of equipment, that it's got an extinguisher on the piece of equipment. Bobcat caught on fire at the front of this shop one day this week. I was called to come out there. The positive post of the battery is where the fire had started. We couldn't get the door open on the piece of the equipment. The employee took a 2.5-pound extinguisher, hit the fire with it, but we didn't have any way to cool it down at the time, so it flashed back on us. And I came in here and got some water, and we got it put out, and we pried the door open. Make sure on a piece of equipment, because you don't ever know when it's going to happen to you, that you do have a usable extinguisher there, and if you can get the fire put out, go ahead and extinguish it, but call somebody so we know what's going on and we can come assist you. Get extinguishers in there to Tony. We've got some that have been picked up on the yard. They get left out there, and we'll get about 20, 25 more over there to buy you, and we'll be in good shape over here. We got about 25% more in numbers of extinguishers on the facility than we actually need, so we should always be in good shape. Level of activity is going to pick up. There's more barges coming. I think on the 1st, the boat will be over here. The boat will be a 24-hour operation until we get it outfitted. There'll be a lot of hot work on the boat. There's going to be a lot of other contractors working on the boat. So let's make sure that we do what we need to do, and we do it the proper way. That's planning before we get started doing it. Make sure everybody understands what's going on. But as we transition on and off the boat, there's a lot of deck work that's going to take place. There's a lot of electrical work that'll be taking place, so it might be kind of congested. So again, we got the muster board out, and we're going to try and use that process so we can maintain a head count of who's on the boat, who's not on the boat. So just try to cooperate with us on that. Across the yard, water trucks. Something that Bill and I talked to someone yesterday. We're going to try and start putting someone in the water truck every day. I think that's a necessary evil over here to run that water truck. So we're thinking probably 3 times a day someone will be in the truck. Something you're going to have to watch for. Another piece of equipment going from one end of the yard to the other. So, but hopefully we can make that happen, and there just won't be an opportunity to be eating all this dust every day. We can cut it in half. It'll help everybody out. We've had a lot of guys over here with sinus infections and such, so hopefully we can do something about that. In terms of HSE, again, we're seeing some first aids, and that's all we're seeing. Good job, fella. Good job. A lot of testing taking place. Rigging is busy. Fabrication's busy. The yard looks crazy at some levels across the day, but everybody's doing what they need to be doing, so let's keep that up. What y'all got? Next door in shipping and receiving, there's 5 big shipping crate boxes, wooden boxes. They have pumps in there. Those pumps are for Versatech. Are they for the Bigfoot or for the, they're for Bigfoot. Those pumps probably cost about what you pay for your car. So when we go in there with equipment, let's make sure that we stay pretty far away from them. They're put somewhere where they shouldn't be in anybody's way. So just be careful with that. That's actually what we're doing over here with the old winch shop. Is going to be a client supply. We got a couple of chemical skids coming up, a lot of stainless steel piping, and we need to keep this stuff segregated from the rest of our inventory over here. So that's what's happening there. For the guys who have been seeing the operation of the boring, what we're doing there is we're going to take from this transformer over here, and we're backfeeding this way. We're going to backfeed all the way to the mechanic shop. We're going to eliminate the transformer behind the mechanic shop. That's going to allow us to remove the power lines, which is the next step in transitioning the property next door. So Entergy will come pull the power lines down, and then we can start kind of moving freely across the 2 properties and see where we go from there. John had talked about us building a shop. That's not going to happen, fellas. It's going to be extremely busy. I can't tell you when it's going to slow down. I can't tell you that it will slow down, but it's going to be extremely busy in the next few months. So just watch each other and watch what's going on. If it doesn't need to happen, let's stop and regroup and figure out how to make it happen without jeopardizing anyone. Who else?
Yeah, bro, just make sure when they come over there between the 2 machines that they don't forget. Most of the time we visit, we don't see them when they come. You know, check with us before you come in there. We got a lot of big stuff over there now.
Yeah, in between the 2 test machines is not a thoroughfare. It has to be from time to time, but just normal operations, we don't need to be cutting through there. If you're bringing something to them, that's fine. You need to make contact with the guys at the test machine and do that. But test machine's real busy. Make sure you're aware of what's going on over there, and make sure if the lights are flashing, we kind of give it a wide berth. Anybody else? Pretty interesting yesterday. We had a bunch of clients back here by the ship test, and we did what's called a drop test. Customer wanted us to load up a skid with weight. You always pick it up on level, or at least everyone I've seen, you pick it up on level. And then we cut it and let it drop. And hits the ground pretty hard, and then we loaded up some more weight into it and picked it up again for the customer. So you guys, on some days, don't get to see everything that goes on in this yard, but some pretty interesting shit on a daily basis takes place over here. And it takes everyone over here, man, to get all this stuff going. You know, fabrication's building it, testing is testing on it, rigging is rigging up all of this stuff. There's a lot of different processes that take place. So hats off to everybody involved. got your ducks in a row on the front end, man, it's nothing but getting it done. And that's what it looks like we're doing. Anybody else?
Yesterday, they were bringing some beans in. We had a couple of you guys grinding. Steady blowing the horn, and these guys are not stopping. When you hear that forklift come in with the horn blowing, you got to stop and move out the way. That's just the rule around here.
Anytime we're moving something around, and that's our warning to somebody, blow the horn. Coming in a building, going out of a building, coming around the corner. But when you're coming into a shop situation, and in a fabrication shop, 80% of the people are working with something that's noisy and have something covering their face. So they're going to blow the horn. They're not just going to hit it one time. They're going to blow it. And when you hear it, you need to stop doing what you're doing and look up. That's when you assess whether or not you're involved in the process, you need to get away from the process, or you can simply go back to work. I'd wait till they get the load put down, because if you don't know where it's going and you don't know what's going on, let's just go ahead and get the load put in here, and then everybody can go back to work. But when you hear the horn, look up, see what's going on. That's in the shop, that's on the yard, and you may not be in close proximity, or you may assume you're not close enough to worry about it. It's a good idea to look up anyway. That's the old, don't trust the rear view mirror, turn around and look. Once you know you're in a good place, you're all right, go back to work.
Yeah, Barry got the other day that something offloaded, the driver comes in pretty often. And he came out with the finishing going. I know they tell him everything in the office. You just gotta watch the truck driver in. Sometimes they ignore it or try to get away with it. If you don't notice, everything out there with OCD on, or they have sunglasses, not face glasses, no gloves, whatever. You just kind of watch it out.
And we got a lot of trucks coming in. It's our job, fellas, with the truck drivers. And PJ saying they get out sometimes with just tennis shoes on. The first line of defense is at the gate. And Watney asks them if they have all their PPE. And if they say, yeah, he lets them through the gate. And then they got to get out the truck back there shipping and receiving. So we can furnish them what they need, or we can just get them away from the process if they don't have what they need. But they need to be just like we are out there in the yard. They need to have a hard hat. They need to have steel toe shoes. And they need to have safety glasses on. So that's on us to make sure that they do. And if they don't, we'll get it for them. So keep an eye on that. Anybody else? Y'all have a nice day, fellas.